All right, well, everybody, welcome to this very special edition of Shields and Arrows. As you can tell, we are not in the normal studio. We are on location here in Branson, Missouri, and I've been really wanting to do this for a long time. There's been a person who has done a ton of work for the ministry. He is just such an important asset, not only for me, but for a number of churches, and that is Mr. Nathan White. And Nathan's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for 7 years now, I think.
Yeah, pretty, about like that.
Yeah, before you had kids, before I had kids, we were both newly married. And so I just want to take some time, and hopefully we can do this for a good while, as long as technology holds up for us. I want you to get a really good idea of Nathan and his work that he's doing, and the motivation that he has behind it, because this is, I believe, some of the most, if not the most important work going on in the ministry that is Right Division. So, Nathan, thanks. Shake your hand. Great to have you here. Give me kind of a brief rundown on your background. Why do you know so much about technology?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's good to be on the show.
I really appreciate it.
I am just glad that, we have people our age teaching the Bible, because the way that Christianity is going today, it's slowly getting slimmer, and I think it's important to have a young pastors, young teachers to be able to, lead the next generation. But to me, I'm usually behind the camera. I've always been behind the camera. And I didn't really even know technology that well when I started. I just enjoyed playing with cameras. And then I went to school to play with cameras and learn. I went to film school and doing film stuff.
What state was that in?
That was in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay.
So I went to Liberty University. They have a really big, I guess, they put a lot of money into their film program.
You've told me you've played with some very expensive toys there.
Yeah, they did a good job. I haven't kept up with them today. I know the program theirs might be going down, but I enjoyed it. I learned a lot there. But then that was more film, and I was going into the film world, and I graduated. I went out to LA. I was gonna start my Hollywood career.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan was my idol. And went to LA for 1 week, and it was like, I don't know, what is this place?
Yeah.
So we moved immediately. My dad lived in New Mexico, and we went from Virginia to New Mexico. Half our stuff was in New Mexico, so we're like, let's just go to New Mexico. So my dad has a ministry, Randy White Ministries, you might have heard of, and after I moved out there, I started helping him, and I knew all the camera side to it. We started making YouTube videos long before that, maybe 5 or 6 years before I went to school and doing all that, and but then I really had to get into, okay, this is how you go live, not just record on a camera and then edit a video. You go live, and things have to work in real time. They don't always work, and it's, you got to make the mistakes of what happens when everything breaks.
Yeah.
And so, but then not only that, just automating your daily activities. If you have, if you make a video, you've been through uploading the video, trimming the video, making a podcast, adding it to your website and all that stuff. And that's where I started to get tired of doing constant repetitive tasks. And I was like, if I could just automate this, then my life would be easy.
Yeah. So to make sure everybody's following, you were professionally trained in film, mm-hmm. and probably a lot of the different technology available to different cameras and maybe even processing film.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about, did you know much about audio?
So we did, in the film program there at Liberty, you kind of go through it all. You go through all the equipment, lighting, camera, audio. So I did know about audio.
Okay, so you had that as your background, but then, but you started to transition there, going from, okay, we've got camera, we've got audio, we've got lighting, but now we're going to try to do this technology thing where we go live.
Yeah.
And that was a big push by your dad, right? Was that something that he felt was really important for the ministry?
Yeah, he always wanted to go live, and I don't think it's possible unless you have a big crew of people to do it any other way, because you're going to go live. If you were to record it and then trim pieces together, and if you make a mistake, you got to cut that out and upload it, it would take, editing takes twice as long as the recording.
Yeah.
And so doing that, you'd run out of time.
Mm-hmm.
So live, you push start and you go, and that's what the world sees. That's really the only way to do it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big benefit. I know with my ministry, everybody really appreciates that we offer live streaming, which we're going to get into all that. This guy is the reason why I go live and I am able to do the things online that I do. So you're a one-man operation when it comes to all that. And I mean, now maybe there's been some help that your dad may have, Luca interns who can help him and do stuff. But when it was you in New Mexico, trying to be in charge of all of it, like we said, camera, audio, lighting, as well as the live streaming, you realized that the current system you had was not efficient and there was a better way to do things. So this is what's really cool about Nathan, because now explain how you started teaching yourself to automate and do stuff that eventually led to you doing things like Worshipify, like we're able to go live on right now, as well as my website, markbazeministries.org.
Yeah. Well, it was slow. I mean, it probably took me, it took me, once I started teaching myself how to code, I got into a whole world of, wow, there's so much you can do with technology, and really nobody's doing it. And it took me a while to just understand, like, why is nobody, taking advantage of technology, especially in the Christian world, where, I think we should exceed at. But it took me maybe a year, 2 years to kind of figure out what I was doing. At the time, you just Google, how do I do this or that, and you put a piece together, and then you learn that, and you copy that code, and you put it over there, or you copy just some app that somebody's put out there for people to use that automates a task.
And there's schools and training for this, right? You can go to school and get a degree in computer programming, for example, but you just started learning it.
Well, if you go to school to learn, you're going to spend 4 years at the least, and who knows how much money. So it's all online. Coding, especially anything computers, it's changing so much. If you learn something in 4 years, the chances are when you're out of that school and you graduate, it's so much has changed from when you started to when you end. And so if you're online and you're constantly keeping up to date with what's happening, you're not going to miss anything.
Because the curriculum will change. When you start out as a freshman, it'll be completely different by the time you're a senior, probably, because computer stuff moves so fast. And everybody watching, if you are hearing coding, computers, and your eyes are starting to glaze over, you need to bear with us, because I really do mean it. This is, when we talk about spiritual warfare, this is a technological spiritual warfare right here, okay? Just like our military, the great assets that it has is the technology, a Black Hawk helicopter or whatever. This really is. This is tip of the spear, frontline stuff for how we're able to do ministry work. You would not be hearing me right now if it wasn't for Nathan. So you need to bear with us and understand just how important this really is. So you taught yourself how to code. What was the first really big project? What was the thing that when you learned your coding skill, what was the first task that you applied it to?
Yeah, the only reason that I wanted to learn was because we had podcasting at the time, and I was taking video, stripping out audio, and uploading it to a podcast.
Yeah, I have a very general idea of what you mean by that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So removing the picture from the audio is all I wanted to do, and so I started learning, and at the time I couldn't figure it out, and but what happened was I became so amazed with how much you can do that I started learning everything else, and then forgot about my original goal of just automating my daily tasks.
Have you even accomplished that yet? Have you gotten the podcast set up?
After that was maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was up until this last year that I finally got everything completely automated.
Yeah.
and I was like, I completely forgot about what I was doing. But I'm glad that I learned it the way I did. You know, and some things you can't just rush it and learn as fast as you can.
Yeah, it's a process.
You gotta, you gotta make the mistakes and just learn something unrelated, because really it all connects together in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is just, it's just a box that with a bunch of numbers that do some cool things, and if you can learn a general knowledge of how it works, then you can do a lot of things.
You make it sound really easy, but I've told you before, it sounds like magic to me.
You know, it's not easy until you write it, and it's like, oh, that's all it is just a few lines of code.
Yeah.
And now, as soon as you see it, you know exactly what you were trying to do. It took you forever to get there, but when you finally get it, and so.
Now, what it's allowed you to do, though, is it saves you a lot of time. So where before you were having to do a lot of stuff, manually, and now you have a lot of things automated.
Yeah.
It allows you to start working on other projects. Yeah. So when you started to code and automate things, what did that allow you to do moving forward? So you had your initial goal of automating the podcast aspect, but what did it turn into? What was the thing that your first completed task when you did learn to code?
So I started learning, and somehow I took a turn onto web development, building websites. So my first big job or task that I felt accomplished was building a functional website that people could go to in their browser, and I had complete control over what was on the website. It wasn't relying on some other company, like a social media company, to just be able to post something. It was, I could post something, and I could completely have control over how it looked on any device. And so the web development is really where I took off into.
So was that your dad's website, the first one you made?
The first one was my RandyWhiteMinistries.org, and that's gone through a whole bunch of changes. And now it's just been, I can't even count how many websites I've built now.
And he's also made a website builder, so a website that builds websites.
I'm in the process of building a website that builds websites. It's hard, and it's not finished because there's a lot of things that go into.
I can't even begin to comprehend that. So let's put a quick pause on the discussion on technology for just a second, and because I know a lot of people who watch this, they're invested in the theology aspect of things. So just so you have a good understanding of exactly who we're talking to, he said it a couple times. I've said it before as well, I think. You are the son of Dr. Randy White.
Yep.
So Dr. Randy White, Randy White Ministries out of Taos, New Mexico. He's been mentoring me for I don't know, 7 years now on rightly dividing the Bible. And so much of what I've learned, I have to give credit to him. So before the people just see you as a computer nerd, no offense, I don't know if that's an offensive term or not, but make sure that they understand that you are not only someone who knows computers, but you know your Bible as well.
Yeah.
So, just maybe speak to your, as your dad was learning right division, kind of how you followed along with that. If you just wanted to briefly kind of speak to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of got spoiled, I guess you could say, in the fact that I just grew up with a dad who actually studied and asked questions that really very few people are going to ask, regarding the Bible. And
his
really
catchphrase is question the assumptions.
Yeah.
So, and a model, yeah.
Yeah. So, he grew up mostly Baptist, and probably my whole younger life was mostly Baptist as well. And then maybe kind of towards my upper high school years and college did he start transitioning into rightly dividing the word. I don't think, as a kid, especially, as a pastor's kid, some pastors' kids kind of grow up a little rebellious.
Yeah.
And I was kind of one of those. I would ask questions that most teenagers would ask and have doubts that a lot of teenagers would have doubts on. If my dad wouldn't have also been very skeptical, I don't know that I would really have stayed stayed religious. Because even today, I look at the state of churches and they're not asking any questions and they're not answering simple questions, really.
Yeah. And as a young person, you're looking for answers, and you're not getting it when you go to youth group on Wednesday nights. So you're going to start searching other areas.
Yeah, you're skeptical. And I think I read a statistic that in the 1970s, 90% of America was considered themselves as Christian. Mm-hmm. And then today, I think it's like 60% of Americans consider themselves Christian. And it's, I would probably argue that it's even lower. I don't know how they take those polls, but it definitely depends on where you're at.
But every statistic, whether it's identifying as Christian, church attendance, Bible, could you imagine if they were able to do some kind of poll where they tried to determine Bible knowledge? That would be really bad.
Yeah, it would, and I think that's the reason that we see such a decline in Christianity, and really the younger generation leaving the church. If you go to most churches, they're 50 and up, is because nobody questioned. Well, really, the seminaries and the pastors didn't ask hard questions. They kept it as simple as they could. And my generation was growing up very skeptical.
Yeah, the young people had questions, but the older people had no answers.
Yeah.
And then we're not speaking. This is not a hard and fast rule. There have been great men, great churches, throughout the decades. Yeah. But we're just looking at Christianity, the state of churches in America, and probably even the world as a whole.
Yeah. So, but also, where technology comes in, is that our generation, they say that part of the reason that Christianity has declined is possibly due to the internet. I don't know how much I agree with it, but it does make a good point that a lot of people have questions about religion, which religion has truth, and what does science say about God, and and they go to the internet and they find a whole slew of information that's not biblical or not rightly divided.
Yeah, half-truths or what have you.
And
100 contradictions in the Bible, stuff like that.
And so that's where I think that's where I think I really can make a difference. That's kind of my goal. Is we have our churches, but we don't have a big community online, I don't think. And that's growing, especially as more people start broadcasting and churches start getting online and social media. But really, there should be more out there online. Really, I think we could flood the internet with good information, because most people, I think it's really just ignorance that leads them away. If they would have known or would have been able to study the questions that they've had, they would. I think it's really obvious to come to the conclusion that there is a God, and you really, it's just.
Yeah, and like the accusations levied against the Bible, like these contradictions that you may read, that are claimed on websites and things like that. Sometimes, out of curiosity, I'll try to search for opposing positions. Even here's one interesting in Right Division. If you try to look up proof that Paul was not legitimately an apostle, proof that Paul hijacked Christianity, you can find a lot of stuff like that. So if you are searching for truth and you come across what seem to be compelling arguments for major flaws within current Christian doctrine, it's going to lead you astray. And just imagine what if when you did the searches, it wasn't the milquetoast answer that Got Questions gives, and it's also not the atheist or at least anti-Christian websites. What if it's a right divider giving a sound answer to a legitimate question? And I guess, I don't know, there's so many. Technology is a massive area of discussion, but that kind of leads us into AI in today's time, because how many people today are, like, I did not realize this until the other day. I didn't think I relied on AI that much. Now I know that you use it as a tool, and I think that you'd be really good at speaking about the ethical side of like how to properly use AI. But what I'm going to talk about is very basic. Like I don't really have much AI that I use for anything except for when I go to Google something, and now I'm not even clicking on a website. I'm just reading the AI summary, and so when people go to search a Bible question, a theology question, and they're reading the AI that's right in front of them, they're pulling all that from evangelical websites, giving the standard answer. So can you elaborate on that? If we could get enough right dividers, enough resources online, how that would actually sway even AI and how it might answer a question.
Well, AI, it searches the internet really the same way that your old, outdated search engine would do it. And that's using a tool. I won't go into the details, but using a tool called SEO, search engine optimization, and basically it looks at how many times a website's shared across the internet, how well presented is the website, and how many viewers go to the website, and just a whole number of things. And so some of the, when you find some good information on the internet, a lot of times it's from a website that's, from the 90s or something, what it feels like. And if it is that old, it's not going to show up on the top of your search engine. And so when you go to Google, go back to Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever, and see when you type in a question about theology, what is showing up on top. That's what's going to be influencing AI. And evangelical ideas or Protestant. Really anything. I'm not to put anybody under the bus, but
I'll put people under the bus. It's okay.
We really could make a big difference using the SEO tools in putting rightly divided content on the internet. And if we can get on the top of the search engines, then we can influence AI.
And not to interrupt you, but I don't know does it really take that much? Because all you need is, you kind of just got to have the viral hits, right? So I'm not trying to, well, and your dad would be a good example. There's some ways that you could word a search and your dad's stuff would be up there towards the top because it's got traction, it's worded well, it's people have found it, they've clicked on it, and it gets top listing in the searches.
Yeah.
So we can do it. It's not a hopeless endeavor.
Not. And really, the key is having a lot of content.
Yeah.
A broad range of content. And
y'all do great work on that. Your dad's catalog of videos and resources is just crazy for such a small team, that does it.
Yeah. Well, it's you do it every day for however many years.
Yeah.
You'll eventually get a lot of content out there. And we do have a lot of content, but to push it a step forward is to optimize, okay, what kind of keywords is, if you can put yourself in the eye of whoever is searching the internet to answer their question, and you can ask yourself, how would they ask that question? Then you can present your content in a way that, okay, most people would ask these questions and they would ask it in this way. So this is how I would present my information to show, here's your question and your answer. If you can put both of those together, then AI will just, it doesn't have to think hard, it can read it word for word.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the key. A lot of, it's just...
There's been times where I've really been tempted to name a sermon or a video that I do, something that I think is doctrinally precise, as well as shows some degree of intellect, or at least I can put on the facade as if there's intellect. But then I realize, I've got to figure out what is the terms or the way that the guy on the internet's going to search for it.
Yeah.
So instead of naming it like manipulation occurring in churches due to bad doctrine, I just got to say churches are manipulating you, and that gets the hits. That's what people see.
Yeah.
To kind of use another, and then you can complete your thought there, kind of to use another analogy, Paul, it's often talked about, and I think this is accurate, Paul utilized the system, the road system that Rome had developed to travel to a lot of churches, and use that to his advantage. It's infrastructure. It was the technology of the day. I mean, the Roman roads are still standing to this day in many places. I really think that what you're doing is very similar to that. This is modern technology, this is modern infrastructure, and you're using the resources available to reach people for the sake of sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
So this is absolutely relevant and crucial for us.
Yeah. So let me just give a real quick what we do, or what I do I just recently started a ministry, I guess you could call it, called the Tech Mission Field. And my goal is really reaching churches to give them the technology that they need, whatever it may be, to share the word, focusing on, on the internet. And that includes going live streaming video, podcasting audio, and then putting that content onto their website, and really automating all of the work to simplify how a church can go live without needing a big staff or a whole media team to do it. So it really is important that, you know, most of these churches that are small can push a single button and go live, and then it's automatically on their website and automatically into a podcast or whatever it is. But then going forward onto their website, when we have lots of churches with up-to-date websites and up-to-date technology, then really I think our knowledge of the Bible and how it could be taught and should be taught, rightly divided, is something that I can see coming into, you know, just an average person's hand. And rather than right now, I think most people rely on learning about the Bible from going to church, and I don't think that the people there's just a large number of people that are not going to church and not ever going to go to church. It would be, for some people who have never gone to church and who might have if they were to get saved, you know, immediately, it would be so foreign to them to start going to church. It would feel uncomfortable if you've never gone in your whole life. And there's a lot of people out in the United States that I've met who are in that situation. And so I think the only way to reach them is the internet. Mm-hmm. If they've never heard it, they're never going to go to the church. A lot of people, a lot of atheists, or just people who despise Christianity and might not know what it teaches, they know they don't like it, but where are they going to learn about it? Probably at the church right now. And so I think we need to get it out there. You know, the Gideons used to have a Bible in every hotel room.
Yeah.
And that reached a lot of people and still does today. But I think, you know, people are on their phones, people are on the internet, and that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
It's really the only place. If we want Christianity to move forward, where else are we going to go? That's it.
That's why I refer to you as technological spiritual warfare. So one thing I really wanted us to talk about in the course of this show today, or tonight, maybe tomorrow, depending on how much longer we go. But let's say that I'm a pastor of a church, right, which I am, and you call me, or somehow I get in touch with you, and you tell me that I need to have my own website, I need to be uploading my videos to you know, Worshipify, or at least the data bank, whatever terminology you'd use there. My response is, well, why? YouTube's free, Facebook's free. Why can't I just use Facebook and YouTube? Why should I be, you know, paying money to upload to somewhere else when I have these other resources? Can you go into the reason why we do not need to rely on services, websites like YouTube and Facebook?
Yeah. So, and it's really, I think that is an important thing, because, you know, if you can imagine a world where, let's just say without the U.S., and the U.S. right now, the United States, has been a very safe place for Christianity, freedom of speech, mm-hmm. and you know, just the freedom of expression and all that. If you take that away, then, you know, what world would we be in? Let's just say we removed free speech, or that really we can have free speech, but all of our media to express that speech is controlled by the, a few companies, a handful of companies that don't have your interests in their heart. And so you post something online, and we've seen it really even here. It gets taken down because it's offensive, whatever reason, didn't follow their terms of service, and you can't post that there. They can say really anything they want to say. If they don't like your content and it doesn't meet their terms of service, which they wrote, good luck putting it out there. So it's important to be able to break free from, I hate to use the word, a centralized ecosystem, I guess, but really, I guess that's what I mean, is make a decentralized platform that people can post on and express their freedom of religion. And so we saw it in COVID a lot. Really, I guess 2020, there was a lot of churches went online for the first time, and they didn't last very long before they got taken offline on multiple platforms, not just a few of them. And I started Worshipify before that, a few years before that, and I wasn't taking people down. So really, I think the important thing is that churches can build just a network that they control. It would be the most powerful system if churches could have their own servers at their own church, and maybe it connects to churches in their denomination or whatever to stay online, but you can't take it offline because all of their media and content is on their own server that they control.
To kind of, and once again, there's some people here who are going to know all about this and know way more than me, probably not as much as you, but there may be some people who are listening to this, and I think to conceptualize what the internet even is maybe, somewhat obscure to people.
It is hard.
But like this video, right, the video that we're doing right now, it's going to go and it's going to be saved on a physical computer. One's going to be with Worshipify servers, and it's going to be protected, and it's not going to be randomly deleted because I said something that was perceived to be not according to YouTube community standards. And then another copy of this video is going to be stored on a computer at YouTube's headquarters, their location, and that's where it is. It's not somewhere in the cloud. I mean, it is, I guess, because you can access it on the internet, but it's at a physical place. And if I only ever uploaded my Bible studies to YouTube, and YouTube decided one day it's done, it's over, and it deletes my channel, all of the videos that I ever did, all of my studies, Bible studies, verse by verse, Bible conferences, you name it, it's just gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone. But with Worshipify, it's going to be there. We're going to have a physical copy at a server that's accessible, that's not going to be taken down for just some random reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crucial. Now, here's the other part of that. Nathan, is YouTube and Facebook really free to use?
Yeah, it's definitely, when you go on YouTube, they're profiling everybody who watches. YouTube has a lot of work put into the fact that they know who you are, even if you're not logged in, and they might even just log you in because they know, oh, this is your account. And I've seen it happen a few on my devices, and but they know who you are if you are, especially as a user, not even a ministry uploading a video, but users watching videos. They'll make a big profile about you, and if it were to ever come to a hostile situation where somebody, wanted to know who are all the users that are watching this content, it's out there and they know who you are. And at least at Worshipify we don't profile people. But so you take a risk, I guess you could say that, as to where you watched your content.
Yeah.
What do you what information are you giving about?
Yeah, right. And so instead of giving YouTube or Facebook currency, you're giving them your data. Which honestly, which one do you value more? Like your privacy, or $40 a month or what have you? So it's not really free at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Not if you value your privacy on the internet.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think privacy is something to have, especially I might just be have looked at too many things on the internet that I want to be off of the internet
Right,
some days.
right.
But privacy is it's very important.
And they're telling who YouTube, and maybe even selling some of that information too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So as far as other areas of technology, whether it's censorship, is there any other major things that you want to explore there? Do you feel like we've covered most of that, or do you want to?
Yeah. So I think in terms of censorship, the most important thing is having control of your content. And if you have control, then there's really no way that the way the internet works is it's a fabulous system that they invented a long time ago, and nobody has control of the internet. And there's a lot of censorship on the internet, but there's always a way to get your information out online, as long as you control it. And so I think controlling it, your own content, is the most important thing. It's where the next step after controlling your content is presenting it in a way that a user can digest, and that a user can access on their phone or on their computer, and that's a whole nother world of work.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this. So one thing that sometimes people may find, they log on to Worshipify or or even a website maybe that you design. I really want people to grasp the full picture here. Sometimes you may hear, Worshipify had this bug, or I tried to watch the video, and maybe for whatever reason, right, they're having trouble. There's some people who are more technologically inclined than others, and the reality is, all of you mature supporters of these ministries and follow along, we love you, and you're the ones that make it possible, because you're the ones that have money. I just unashamedly will just admit it, right? You've been on this earth and you've proven yourself responsible, so you have resources. You're doing great, right? To catch up with cell phone technology and everything else, because back when you were our age, phones were still on the wall with a cord. But I understand, right? You try to log on, and maybe, YouTube is pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. You need to realize that YouTube has do you have any idea how many coders that YouTube would even have that keeps their system running?
Definitely thousands, maybe tens of thousands.
Working 24/7 around the clock to monitor everything.
All over the country. It's all over the world.
And how many coders does Worshipify have?
It has one.
It has one. And so the very fact, first of all, I will tell you, Worshify I think works very well. A lot of times it's as simple as just reloading your screen. If it's a lot of time, if it's lagging a little bit, just hit that refresh button and it's fine. But be long suffering, even if there are some bugs, some hiccups here and there, because when you try to look at Worshify and you try to compare it to YouTube, you've got to realize YouTube has thousands of coders, billions of dollars that it has at its resources, and Worshify, which is doing the same thing YouTube does, is being created by this man right here, probably oftentimes at home in front of your computer while you have your kids, needing you to play with them or something. So
yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, and I've spent countless hours building Worshify, breaking Worshify, rebuilding it, hearing from people that there are bugs, and knowing that there are bugs, and trying to keep them at bay. And it is the most important thing to me with Worshify is really just having the freedom to be able to work on this work, because
and there's no ads. Did we mention you don't have to worry about ads playing on Worshify?
Yeah. And so, but yeah, it's a lot of work, and it breaks sometimes, but it gets better every time it breaks. I find what I need to fix.
And I don't know how much you're wanting to talk about. Nathan sometimes will share with me some things that he's doing that maybe isn't quite ready for just general people to know. But at the very least, can you say that some updates are coming that are going to just make things run that much better?
Yeah. So, I'll just give a little, what my life's been like for the last few years.
Here's some exclusives on Shields and Arrows, people.
So it took me almost 2 years to build Worshify, to be able to go live and stream and do everything that YouTube did, really.
From scratch. You're not using some other website to do this. This is all from the ground up.
Yeah, and that was when I was really learning how to build all this in the first place. One of my early projects was Worshify, and so I built that, and then the tech industry has, like I said, there's lots of coders in the world.
Yeah.
There's also a fair amount of work to do for other companies, and so I started working for another company, which was a great experience. But it took me away from the work at Worshify, and I did that for 2 years. And Worshify, just in 2 years, so it took 2 years to build it, and then 2 years of almost, I guess you could just call it neglect.
Staying in place, stagnation, I guess.
Not just not having the time to make necessary changes and all that, to keep up with the upcoming technology. Yeah. And so now I'm back to full time on Worshify, and I'm looking at it.
Let me pause you really quick before you. I hope you guys understood what he just communicated there. He is way too he's way too humble and modest to admit what he just said. Nathan has the skill set, the knowledge, the intellect to be making more money than you are right now, probably with a company. He's worked for companies before doing code work, not as a professionally trained coder with a degree, but a self-taught coder. So you could absolutely take your skill that you have right now and put it towards something else where you could, have a lot nicer pickup truck or something like that. But instead, you've chosen to solely focus on the ministry work in the tech mission field.
Well, that was my mistake, was seeing the flashy paycheck of, tech work, and how much you can get paid out there.
Yeah. Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like you did anything wrong there, but
it really was a blessing.
Yeah.
I had, I could provide for my family and then some. But I just always knew that my will and what I really was driven to do,
your conviction,
is I want to, help churches. I want to be able to provide the tools that others can use to teach the Bible, and I wasn't able to do that working full time for another company, and so that's why I left where I was. Now I am, and that was a big paid drop. And so, but that's not important really in the long run. It's it is important to be able to feed my family.
Right.
But
our world's so mixed up because they will measure the value of work oftentimes based upon a source of income, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. The work that you're doing is, I think, extremely important. I would say the contributions you've made far outweigh my contributions, because there's a number of great Bible teachers, but nobody really hears them because they're teaching at their small little church, or their house church, and they just don't have the resources to reach out there. So there's, okay, yes, right dividing Bible teachers are few and far between, but right dividing tech mission workers are, as far as I know, just about one for the most part. There may be a couple others out there.
I bet there's a few out there. But
but the value of your work can't be measured on a dollar sign on a paycheck, because there's some people who are drawing a lot of money who aren't really doing anything. Kind of like, the preacher at a big Baptist church who preaches like one day out of the week, and then the rest of the time he's not really doing much.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that is what is most important to me right now. Is being able to build this stuff, and so it was a blessing to be able to work in the tech industry, I guess. You meet a lot of people out there. I wouldn't say that the tech world has a lot of Christianity in it. They say that most of the tech workers and lean left, I guess, is what you could say. And in that being that most tech workers aren't.
Well, they're locked indoors. They don't get a lot of physical exercise. And it's kind of,
as you can see.
No, I've seen you the work you've done at your house. So.
So I did meet a lot of people that I got to share the word with, and it was great to do that. But really, my work is kind of behind cameras, behind a screen, and I think that what I can do is give the tools to those who are teaching, who can then really influence who knows how many people. You say there's a few. There is a few rightly dividing pastors out there, and I think that together, the combined work of those few teachers that there are really can make a huge difference if we can, get their work online and shared with the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, so let's see here. We've been going for a little while. I'm not quite sure how long. I can't see the tiny timestamp, and I'm not really worried about time. We'll go for as long as we want, and hopefully everything's been going well on YouTube. Yes, we are streaming on YouTube, but you should go over and watch this on markbazeministries.org, which was made by Nathan. So, I guess what's next then? Yeah. So what's the tech mission field going to try to accomplish here in the next couple of years.
Yeah. So
What you can speak to. I know some things you
Yeah.
may not be quite ready to release to let people know, but
well, you mentioned watching it on YouTube and on your website. When I first started Worshify and just my own broadcasting platform, I did kind of have a mentality of, well, you should stay off of YouTube. You should only use Worshify.
Right, yeah.
But after going out and really seeing just how much work needs to be done to teach, just to spread Christianity, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot needs to be done. And so really I've kind of changed my approach in the fact that, we stream on YouTube, and we kind of have a love-hate relationship with the other social media platforms because they can censor you and they can do who knows what, and they kind of control everything. But it is where people are at. People are on social media.
YouTube is the Roman road, to a large degree. It's a part of the infrastructure. So
people get online at night, they scroll. And as much as I would love for people to scroll on Baze Ministries,
yeah, me too. That'd be cool.
There is just always an audience on, a secular platform, and that's fine. So reaching an audience on those platforms, I think it really is important, actually. And so what I'm working on now is trying to integrate with as many platforms as I can to be able to restream to everywhere.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned it. So that's one thing that I'm eventually wanting to do is to start streaming not just on YouTube, but probably X. Rumble would probably be another one because Rumble is on the rise. And Rumble, to their credit, seems to be, they're less censorship. Probably I don't know as far as protecting data. If it's free, then there's something you're giving up there.
Yeah.
So
they've done a good job. They built their infrastructure extremely fast. Most of that was during 2020 and all that.
Yeah.
And their whole goal was to have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And a lot of platforms came out of that freedom of speech. It was
right.
It's important. But not everybody went to Rumble.
And there's also ads on Rumble. Okay, they got to make money somehow. So once again, if you don't like ads, Worshify, MarkBazeMinistries.org, RandyWhiteMinistries.org. That's how you're able to bypass all of that.
Yeah. So a diversity of platforms is, I think, the key to reaching your next audience, I guess you could say.
But the protection, though, and it being truly yours, because Rumble's data, even if they're pro free speech for the most part, it's still theirs, right? You don't really own it.
They can always take it down.
So in 2025 and moving forward, you still see absolutely the relevancy of your own website and database. That is it's yours, right? At least in the general sense, right? I pay for services for Worshify just like any other user, and so I've purchased my own slot of data to be secured there.
Yeah. So you pay for all the hard drives to go into a server, into a computer, and that's where the computers are, or the video files and all your media is saved. And so it is important that really there are services out there that will just restream to all the platforms, but they don't really store your content for you. It'll just go out to the other platforms.
Yeah, you're just hoping that they'll keep it. You're hoping that Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, whoever will hold on to it for you.
And so with your content being stored on Worshify, really in a location that's accessible to your website and everything that you want, is what gives us the next level of features that we can add, such as we have, we have the content on our hard drive. We can transcribe your content for you, and then we can, recommend clips of your content so that you can post it in short clips on social media.
Yeah.
A whole range of stuff that can be done.
The transcription tool on my website's really neat, and it does a really good job of taking what I say and breaking it down. Often, anywhere from like 8 to 10 points, probably, depending on what the session's like. And so I had somebody just the other day on shields and arrows say, "Hey, did you answer this question a while back?" And I would have had no idea how to do that before. I just had to have tried to think in my mind. But I was able to go back to the previous Theology Thursday, which is the day I answer most questions, and I was able to see in the numbered outline, here's exactly where I answered your question. So go to this date. Here's the order of questions, and it's such a cool tool. That's not possible by going through YouTube or other things. It's by going through your service. That's a really good point.
It's I think that transcription, which is whenever the audio gets written down on a page so that you can read it, is super, super helpful. And it unlocks basically the ability to summarize your content, to search your content, and now with AI, to ask questions to your content or about your content and ask, what did Mark say about,
That's cool stuff that I know is coming.
Can go back if you ever make a mistake. We'll be able to.
So you bring up AI. We might as well just jump into it. So you use AI as a tool.
I do, yeah.
Your dad does as well. He's talked about it a number of times on Ask the Theologian.
Yep.
So I know for some people they hear AI and they kind of go to Terminator, right? Like, the machines are going to take over. And certainly I think we would agree that AI poses some threats. Not so much necessarily taking over robots just yet, keeping a close eye on you, Boston Dynamics. Some of you may get that. But while there are legitimate threats of AI, let's be positive at first, and then we can go into some of the dangers, which we did address some of the initial problems with AI. But you use AI as a tool.
Yep.
What is the ethical way of using AI, in your opinion?
Well, to me, I think of AI, and I think it's accurate to say that AI and machine learning is, if you can train a human to do it, then you can, in a sense, train a computer to do it. And so it really is, if you are able to do something, the computer can do that.
Yeah. So can you elaborate? Like pattern recognition, do you think that'd be a good way to describe it?
Yeah, it is. And so it is, at the foundation, it is pattern recognition.
Yeah.
If I see this, I probably would think it would lead to this. So that really is all it is. Well, I guess if you want to generalize it. But it is training. And so if you can train a child to stack blocks in a certain order to make a tower, then you could train a computer to do the same thing, using robots or just putting it on a screen. So really, if you can train it, if a human can do it, a computer almost can do it.
If it's given the proper prompts.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You did this. That was incorrect. Do this. Or.
And so, it's watching what it sees and replicating what it learned.
Now, is it sentient?
No. So, No, it's not. It is very smart.
Yeah.
You know.
It's very complex in its processing power.
Yeah. And it could definitely be used in the wrong sense by just showing it patterns that are negative outcomes, I guess. So definitely there's, obviously it will probably be abused.
Yeah.
But
so how do you use it? Practically, you've talked about transcription, and AI can read the transcription and then summarize the transcription. Do you want to speak more to that, or is there some other ways that I know some of the ways you use it, but for people that are watching, what are some of the other ways that you utilize AI, this very complex processing coding that allows you to do work faster and more efficiently?
Yeah. So to do things faster, if I can train, let's just say if I have an assistant, and I can tell that assistant to do a task for me because he's faster at doing things than I am, because let's just say I'm getting old, and my assistant is very good at things. I take my smaller tasks and I give it to my assistant, and that's kind of what I'd use AI for. I kind of do mainly when I use AI, it's for how can I do something with this language, this coding language or something, and so it's kind of technical like that, and where it's been taught pretty well on how to code, but it's also, like any assistant, can make a mistake. So as long as you have kind of a head on your shoulders to mediate what it does, then that's kind of how I use it. It's just to offload small tasks. But summarization is really good in the fact that, if you ask your assistant, who knows everything about today's episode, what did Mark Baze say, then you can easily get a quick answer. And to make a small bullet list, or to use in training purposes for somebody to quickly, some people's learning style is different, so they can ask different questions along the way. But where I really see AI exceeding in our area is summarizing work and answering questions. It will be a challenge to kind of make sure that it doesn't answer questions incorrectly, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And I know you've utilized it a lot to help with kind of more of the busy coding aspects that are more just time consumption, as opposed to the more intricate and requires you to spend some time thinking. Sorry everyone if you got a little bit of a loud noise there. That's the AC unit kicking on there. I may mute myself when I'm not talking so you don't have to hear that, but anyways, so now let's try to be realistic here. We can obviously go into Terminator, but what do you see are the current issues with AI being used in an unethical way? Yeah. And what are, if you have some thoughts on what you think potentially will come in the future?
Yeah. So kind of just the same thing I said about videos. If you own your content, then you save your freedom. And that goes in the sense of AI, the companies that you use if you use their AI,
they hand selected their content. They did train it on the internet, which at least is such a broad range of information that hopefully it found some good content. But they have control over what content it was trained on. And so really, if they remove information from it, then that AI has no knowledge that that information exists. So the freedom, when most people, I do see that AI is going to be used in how we search for content, and when you got to, I think it's important to be diligent about who you choose to search for information through, because we've all had this battle with search engines hiding information from us for many years now.
I don't think it's going to stop.
I think the Grok, or whatever the name for the AI of X, is really interesting, because it's extrapolating everything that it's getting off of X, and right now X is very much, and I want to be careful, I don't want to get buzzwords here that YouTube gets us on, but there's been a certain group of people associated with a certain country in the Middle East that's been a hot topic lately. And remember a few, like last month or whatever, Grok was saying a lot of very racist type things. And that's because it's not that Grok is anti-Semitic. It's because it was pulling what a lot of things were being said on X. And so that is a very, it's gonna present a lot of false truths. Because imagine right now, most of what's being said about dispensationalism, for example, if you look at what's being said on X or YouTube, and you try to get an AI summary of the doctrines of dispensationalism, what are you going to get? What's the accusations being levied? Well, dispensationalism is it's Zionism. It is doomer theology. We're just, it's escapism. We're just trying to get out of here, waiting for the rapture. And it doesn't accurately reflect our dispensational doctrine. And so, you can really skew the public perception of any given subject or topic just because AI is pulling from all these different sources.
Yeah, definitely. So I do think, having control, these models can be run and trained on our own equipment. I'm not doing that at the moment, but I think churches and Christian ministries should take advantage of training their own models. There's lots of models that are available for people to train on their own, and it should be something that churches take advantage of. If churches fail to be a part of the industry, then I think it's not, they're really harming themselves by allowing everyone else to have control of the narrative, really. Not to say that you're controlling the narrative by making your own AI, but you do have a say, and you put your voice out there when you train your own. It's a big task to do, so I would be hesitant to say that it's going to happen, because it would probably cost some money. And in ministries, I think it'd be wise to do.
It's the next step. It's the next evolution of this Roman road, that is technology. So I think that people here, I hope that you have taken the time to watch this whole thing, and you realize that this is actually it's nice that finally shut off, hopefully for all of you, that this really is I think the most important thing that we have going on right now, because the Bible studies are crucial. The doctrine is essential. It's foundational. But if there's not men like Nathan who are making it possible, and into where guys like me who have no technology knowledge at all to be able to go live from my church out in the middle of nowhere in the country, then you're never going to hear it. You're never going to hear sound Bible doctrine. There's never going to be any resources on the internet for AI to even pick up on, right? That hey, there's this alternative position. There are dispensationalists who have a more systematic approach to theology, other than just, hey, yeah, dispensational, we're going to be raptured, isn't that great? John Nelson Darby or C.I. Schofield. It's no, let's get into the depths. Let's actually talk about the truth behind some of those guys, because you can find all sorts of accusations levied against theologians of the past, and we're able to refute and stand our ground. Do you have any other areas or topics that you feel like you need to cover tonight?
It doesn't matter. I can answer any questions or talk about anything. I do think it's important for, to me, this is probably just personal. But
I'm going to very unprofessionally check and see if there are any comments or anything, any questions for you. So while you're talking,
it's important. Well, let's just stick. This is kind of a personal preference. That we go through, and maybe just because I grew up with my dad teaching verse by verse through the Bible, and then I grew up and went to college and had to go to other churches, and then I got moved around, had to look for other churches, and then I find very few of them are teaching verse by verse, and very few are teaching in-depth studies. But really, to be able to get out and teach the word is just in-depth is what's important. So
yeah, absolutely. One another great thing about Nathan is you've listened to so many Ask the Theologian episodes. You probably could be able to just host the whole thing yourself and be able to answer all of those questions on your own, just because you've studied under your dad for so long. But you really are knowledgeable. You could absolutely teach and be a pastor on your own. I'm fully convinced, and yet you have this skill and this knowledge that you're applying to technology. And I really do mean it. Nathan, early on, was always just so ready to help me. And I had a lot of dumb questions, I'm sure. Like, what do you mean? What's an HDMI? And it's that thing you need to plug into your TV. But so many basic things that you've explained to me, and now you've got me set up to where I'm able to go live from my house, from the church, to do shields and arrows. You've helped me out on computer stuff, camera stuff. So many times when I've sent out an email to all of you and I've said, hey, I need this equipment, it's because he said, here's what you need. You don't have to know how it works. Just trust me. Just here, download this file, click these buttons. There's been a lot of times where I'll be on FaceTime with you, and you'll just you'll be guiding me. No, don't click there. Click here. And I'm like, okay. So he really has. He's made this possible, and also the work you've done for your dad. I think the way you've had like his studio set up was just always so cool to me. Yeah. When I first discovered your dad had an online ministry, because I knew your dad before I knew that he had this Randy White Ministries online. I thought he was just some, preacher in New Mexico. Yeah. And then I saw like all the technology you had and the studio that you built, that you designed with your knowledge. To have somebody with your background and also just your intellect, your ability to figure these things out, it's a massive advantage for us. And it's something I think that there's a lot of churches that have a ton of resources, but they don't have the quality. I think of that movie 300.
Yeah.
It's that's all you brought, but then they're all Spartans. He brought more warriors than everybody else, so I would take you over the thousands over at YouTube.
Well,
so
we'll do our best and see what happens.
Yeah. Tell people, so they listen to this, they're amazed at Nathan White and all of his skill and knowledge and the work that he's doing. What are the ways that they can help you? How can they support the tech mission field?
So the tech mission field is what I recently started to help churches, and most importantly, you can donate at thetechmissionfield.com. Just click the donate button up there, and you'll be able to give a generous donation to help cover the cost. Because what I do is I'll go to churches, I'll help them set up, I'll help them build a website, and I do it only for the cost of whatever they can donate. And they may cover the materials if they buy an equipment, but my time invested in them is purely a donation. And really, it's a church by church basis. What is it that they need? Do they need to go live, or do they just want something simple? Do they just want a website that they can post announcements on, or have a question and somebody to answer the phone to answer their question?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Is really I'm just getting started, getting the word out to churches and dividing churches, and seeing where it is that that churches are even at. What is it that they need? I'm still learning that, because I know what our ministry needed, and most of that I think can be transferred over to other churches that do the same thing.
Yeah.
But a donation is what'll keep us going along.
Yeah. The data servers are not cheap.
Yep. Yeah. The servers cost money, and so far they're still running, but
yeah, you got to get those kids through school too. Yeah. So, but I'm going to say this: my plans, and I think Nathan will be on board. This is not the last time you're going to see him in relation to shields and arrows. I really want to do more stuff with you. I would like to do something, even though it'd have to be remote most of the time, because we don't live in the same state. But I would like to have you on more. I think it'd be. I think the audience would really like it when there are areas of your expertise, stuff that comes up, to be able to meet together, even if it's remotely, to discuss some of that. I think it would be really good. I think that you have a lot of excellent ideas, and you have your ear to the ground in areas of technology that we just don't. And so I hope that you'd be willing to kind of be a part of that as we go forward.
Yeah, definitely.
And you may just be coming up with a solution for the remote streaming stuff too. So lots of cool things to come. I have a feeling that people are really gonna catch on to what you're doing. I really do believe it, and I want more churches to understand why it matters. That's one reason I wanted to have you on.
Yeah. So
any final things before I cut us loose tonight to go to bed?
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. Nathan's been a trooper. We've been. It's been a long day. Bible conference here at Branson. Your dad's been doing an excellent job. All the tech stuff, the stage, and all that's been put together by you, and I've been trying to do some stuff as well. Hopefully there'll be some neat things that you'll get to watch in the days to come as I compile some stuff that we've been working on. Of course, go to randywhiteministries.org to find the information, the videos. You have videos on his website too, right? Yep. To be able to find the conference, and then thetechmissionfield.com.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it for Nathan. Nathan, appreciate it. You're a great fellow laborer for the gospel. You're also a really good friend, and I appreciate you. So everybody, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch. And I guess that'll do it for this episode of Shields and Arrows. So we're going to have to end it a little bit differently. I don't have the button to press. So I guess Nathan, the tech guy, it'll be his job to close us out here. He's got it set up on his phone. Just looked at the comments. People are just really supportive, excited to finally get to, they've heard me talk about you a lot. So everybody, this will do it for this very special edition of Shields and Arrows. Cue the epic, cool music. And we'll probably be going live again Tuesday, okay? Tuesday morning, 9:30 to 10:30, normal scheduled time. We'll be back to Abraham on Wednesday night. And so really appreciate all of you. That'll do it for now. Continue to defend the faith, the family, and the fellowship. We've got our technological, spiritual warfare unit in action. All right. So thanks again, Nathan.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys.